Praise the Lord. Let's take our seats. Amen. It's nice to be in the presence of the Lord, and we share in the Word of God to encourage one another in line with the theme, to see what we are coming through. Somebody asked me in the earlier break to say, oh, is it wrong to share expenses with your girlfriend? And then I said, no, it's not wrong. But then I said, if you are taking somebody for a date, you say, can I take you for a date? You are the one who is asking them for a date. And then for you now to say, let's share expenses when you take them for a date, it's a weakness. It's a weakness for us as a man. But when you are together, it's good to share expenses and responsibility. But when you are approaching somebody, you are trying to get their heart and get their love. And then on your first date, they say, let's share our expenses. I think you are a weak in that area. So that's what I was coming to do. That's what I was coming to do. And then there is one question I will take before I start. But there is something I wanted to conclude by in that session to say, how do you heal the wound of overly bonded with mother? So I want you to understand that breaking that wound is good for you and it's good for mom.
Yes.
It's good for the two of you, but it must be handled with sensitivity, maturity, and respect. Because we are at different levels. Our maturities and all that stuff, they are different. So we need to be wise. So you can't be a total man without this break. It's not going to work. That's why Genesis says, therefore a man shall leave his father and his mother and cleave to his wife. You can't cleave without leaving. That's why we need to do that. So as long as you are tied to mom, you are going nowhere. That's what we need to accept. And also I think you need to recognize that your ultimate goal is to become what God says, not what mom thinks. I think this is very, very important. That your goal is to become what God says, not what mom thinks. There is a scripture for that, Matthew 10 verse 37. I think it's a very, very important scripture. If you look at that one, if they run that scripture on the wall, because I want to balance this so that you realize that I'm using these examples to make a point so that you see where we are coming through. Can you put Matthew 10:37 for us on the wall, please? He that loveth mother or father more than me is not worthy of me, and he that loveth son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me. So that's why our ultimate goal is to do what God says about us, not what our mother thinks or what our father thinks about us. And then the next thing, that if you have a problem with that, stop struggling with your mother. If you are not making progress, get support from other men. They can help you how you can do it in a good way that will bring good closure. But normally you will be resisted. You will be resisted. She will tell you, I'm not your mother anymore. You have cut me out, this and that. But with time, you will see that they will begin to understand. I had an incident in one of my church members where the mother-in-law gave trouble to this girl. She had just given birth. And then she came, the friends were helping her. She came and kicked the girls out, and she had stitches. She couldn't do anything. And the mother-in-law was not helping. She was terrorizing her in the house. So she called me crying. I called the husband. I said, you take action. Call your father. Talk to your father and tell her to bring your mom to order. And then he was scared. And then I told him, if you don't do that, you will lose your wife. Because she was really critical. She had to be admitted in hospital and all those things. The mother was difficult in the house. Difficult in the house. They went to hospital and back. So in the end, when the woman phoned, I told the guy, I said, tell your father, if he can't bring your mom to order, you will call the police to come and protect your wife. You see, it's hard to be a man. Because it was serious. I thought it was critical. The mom was unreasonable. So in the end, it wasn't working. I told him, call the police. The police will sort that for you. We pay them to do that. Do you know that they called the police? And the mother and father were removed from the house that day, that night. They cursed me. You have an evil pastor. You have a wicked pastor. You have this and that pastor. You have that. I said, don't worry. They are still angry. But with time, they will come down and they will respect you for this. The last time they visited me at church, there was the dedication of one of their grandchildren. The mother came to me and said, Pastor, thank you for training my son. He is the best son ever. So do you see? So it's a process of putting the principles. Initially they will fight you because they are not used to it. They feel they are losing you. But we have to have these principles in place. I can't lose my wife because of an unreasonable mother. I said, okay, if you can't, we'll get the police to do it for you. It sounded very rude, but that was the best way to do it. And it saved all their lives. Now their relationship is on the cloud 9. They are happy, but there is now respect. They now know boundaries. They now know what to do. If we don't teach them, they won't do it. And if you are a wimp, you won't do that. I'm not here to raise wimps. I'm here to raise men. Not just men, but godly men.
Amen.
Amen. Amen. So please don't struggle. Talk to other men. Establish boundaries. Establish boundaries. I used to be told, my wife, I'm the only one who is here. My wife's family is in the UK. Christmas time, they'll just come to me and say, oh, this Christmas we're going to see so and so. This Christmas we're going to this Christmas, I'm thinking. So in the end, I realized that my name was gone. So one day I just stopped and I said, no, we are not going there. I said, why? I said, I also want my Christmas in my own house with my own children. I want to feel that I'm the father and my household will plan our own Christmas. You can't plan for me all these 4 years, no. So do you get what I'm saying? So I had to put my foot down. Initially they were very angry. They were very angry. Oh, you are not understanding, you are not. I said, no. We need to set boundaries because this is my household. You gave me this wife. You say she's now, who gives this woman? You gave me. So I have the right to decide what we do for our Christmas. If we want to come and be with you, it will come from us. Don't expect it. I had to put the boundaries. Now they consult me before they do anything. Oh, are you happy if we do 1, 2, 3, 4? And then I say, give me 1, 2 days, let me think about it. We have to set these structures in place. Otherwise, we'll have men who are wounded inside and they can't talk. They just follow. They can't follow. In the end, somebody does you wonders and you think, where did it come from? There was a wound inside and it came out softly. So establish boundaries and then keep your wife out of it. Keep your wife out of it. You do the battle yourself. I taught my family when they want something from me, they must go to my wife. Talk to her and ask her because they had a tendency of coming to me. We're going to our brother. They come to me, they know my brother is soft. When they come to say, I need this, I need that, sorry. And then my wife just sees action. I'm doing that. Oh, thank you for this. I've not been told about it. I'm thinking, no, she needs to know because she's my wife. So I realized it was causing division because they were always coming to me and saying, my brother, and then they were moving out of the place. So I had to bring order. I called a meeting, I did a barbecue at home, I brought drinks, they were so excited. After everyone was married, I said, I've got an announcement to make. I said, I've noticed that you guys do things 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. From today, if you want anything from me, you go to that woman. She is the mother of my home. If you don't go to her, you are not getting anything. She found us here. She's a stranger. She's now separating us. Blood is thicker than water. I said, oh my good Lord. But now they've learned to go through that channel. We are at peace at home. That's the channel that we are doing. Okay, I want to carry on. But before that, my brother has a question. Can you ask your question before I move?
First of all, thank you very much for the advice and everything that you've given us today, because it's not often you hear pastors who speak plainly and sincerely the way that you have in language that we understand. My question is, and I think particularly for maybe some of the younger men here, because they haven't got the same sort of experience and wisdom that older men have, and that is, for all the advice that you've given, how can we, and as I say, particularly younger people, how can we put that into practice? The advice is there, but maybe some young people don't know, say, well, it's very good, yes, but how do I go about doing that on a daily basis? on a weekly basis.
Okay, there is another session, Pastor. I'll come again.
Hallelujah.
I'll come again.
Hallelujah.
We have another session where we call mentoring. Mentoring. And this is where we need to begin to mentor these boys. And I'm talking a little bit about the 3 relationships, crucial relationships in a man. We have to begin to mentor them and teach them and invite them to men's ministry where they begin to hear these teachings. We've got some resources also that we recommend that they read. But the mentoring is critical. So it's good for the elderly men to link up with younger guys, establish a relationship and begin to mentor them slowly and guide them. Because young people don't talk. There is a gap, there is a generation gap. It's hard to bridge that gap. But through relationships, in our church we've got a football team. We play football together and then we engage, we do men's breakfast, we do cycling, we do different things which brings us together, and then we raise certain topics briefly. So in the end they are comfortable with us, they can come and ask questions. Then we bring a relationship and then we mentor them. That comes through mentoring, sir. Through mentoring and having an effective men's ministry that meets regularly and does programs that are attractive to young people that end by a word or nuggets guiding them in certain areas. So that's the only way we do it, and praying for them. The important thing is for them to be open enough to talk. The problem with men, they don't talk. Young people don't talk. So it's that putting our guards down. That's where I learned to be vulnerable. I share my experiences. Then they realize this man is real. Then they are happy to come and talk to me about what they are facing. So we've got to engage them and talk to them. It's a process. I started men's ministry in 2003. I've been on that journey. I did a 3-year course on it. So I had to learn and grow in the process. And then I have improved as I go. Sometimes the Lord helps me how to link up, but it's a process. And I'm happy to support with the materials I know, to point you how to do it, and then supporting one another. That's the process. Thank you very much. God bless you for that. So the last part that I want to touch on really tonight is still in the first session. You know, we said there were 2 sessions that we need to approach, and we are only touching the first one. And we didn't touch the other wounds, but I touched the ones that are critical. Because especially in our African culture, say, the mother-in-laws are a pain. Oh, it's good to hear that. Oh my goodness. It's a woman thing. It's a woman thing. So a lot of mother-in-laws are a pain. And there is a lot of friction. And I understand them because the mothers feel a sense of loss when their child goes. They think they have lost their investment. But they have not lost because we have brought them a daughter who is giving them grandchildren. So my mother can't be a grandmother without my wife. So it's learning that is the process of life. That's why one of the most important principles of the Christian church is called the paradox principle. And on the paradox principle, it says, die in order to live. And that is confusing to men, because for me to live, I must live. And now if you are telling me to die to live, it confuses us. That's why Christ said, whosoever shall keep his life shall lose it. But whosoever shall lose his life for my sake shall find it. So that is not a concept that resonates well with men. That's why it says it's more blessed to give than to. It doesn't connect with us. Me, I feel I get richer by hoarding, by giving. But Jesus Christ says you become poor that way. So those are kingdom principles. It's a paradox. But you see, I have learned that also in marriage, if you don't learn to die, you will be painful for a long time. So that's why I encourage men, if you are struggling with your wife, die quickly. Nobody can terrorize a corpse. Nobody can shout at a corpse. Nobody can hate it. You know, everyone respects the corpse. When that black haze is driving, everyone gives way. And even if you are a pauper, when you die, they put you in a Mercedes Benz. Everyone honors a corpse. That's why men, when you have a fish, you learn to die. When I say die to self, let it go. And when you let it go, she has got nothing to fight. And what I say is, after 3 days, you rise again. And you see, after resurrection, you change form and nature. Jesus could walk through closed doors. He could be anywhere, anytime. So you rise up with power. Our problem is we are so adamant, we don't want to hang on the cross. That's why the Bible says we are like Christ. And sometimes hanging on the cross, you are hanging for sins that you didn't commit. But our problem, we only want to hang for what we committed. So it doesn't help. So that is the paradox. I say to men, if you want to enjoy life, learn to die quickly. Learn to die quickly. I've learned to do that. I had an example of a pastor that I knew. He had a problem. Allow me to, I'll try to finish off it. I think it's good to be practical. The wife was a teacher. The pastor was full-time in ministry. He was a friend of mine in Zimbabwe. So the wife was frustrated because payday, the pastor would take money to pay for the bills of the ministry. There wasn't a lot of money in the church. And the woman wasn't dressing as well as other teachers. The children were not, because the money was coming to the church. So it strained their relationship. They almost divorced. So he gave me a call. I was still in Johannesburg at that time. He told me his story, and then the Lord just brought some wisdom to me. I told him, die quickly. He says, what do you mean? I say, this month, don't touch your wife's salary. Leave her to do what she wants with it. He says, how will the ministry be? I said, God will take care of it. It's his church, it's not yours. Payday, he just said, no, do whatever you want. The woman was happy. She went and bought shoes. She bought this, she dyed hair, she did hair. He did everything. She was so happy with the money and everything. The Lord provided. The following month again, I said, don't take it. She said, no, madam, it's sorry, we really appreciate. This is where men fail. We appreciate for these years, really, you have been giving us your salary. I'm really praying that God works in me. You do something, I'll live by faith. I'll trust God by faith. Beat yourself up a little bit. So the wife was happy. She went and did everything, did this for the children, went for games. 3rd month, I said, don't take it again. Now he was just funny because it was working magic. I said, don't take it. And then after 3 months, the wife was tired. She says, no, I don't need the money. I don't need it. I don't have anything that I want. The men started using it for ministry again. You see, if you learn to die, you rise again. So those are the things that we don't understand. So let's go to the all-alone wound. The all-alone wound is a very dangerous wound, especially for men. Especially for men. Manhood, or the journey of a man, is like mountain climbing. You know, mountain climbers don't climb alone. You learn to be a smart climber, and you always wear a belt and some suspenders. And you are linked to other mountain climbers, so that if you fall, the others will hold you back. And now the all-alone wound, when you fall, you are gone. So we must learn always to be hooked to other men. And then the problem with the all-alone wound is a self-inflicted wound. It's not a mother wound. It's not a father wound. It's a choice that you make by refusing to see life as it is. Men by nature are gregarious people. We live in teams and groups and families. So we have to be connected in order for us to make it in life. We thrive through relationships. That's why his spirituality, his well-being, and relationships. Without relationship, we are done. I remember one time the Lord once woke me up. I was battling with other things. And then it was clear to me. And he says, what would you choose? £1 million or people? It looked a crazy question. £1 million or people? I was desperate for money at that time. And I thought about it. And in the end, I just said, no, I would choose people. And the Lord said, you have chosen well. And you know, in all my life, I have never had a balance of £600 in my account for the last 17 years I've been here. I've never had a balance of £600 to say, this is my money. I've never had that. But I have not lacked. In the process, I paid off my house in South Africa. It was 92,000 rand some 10 years ago. I ministered to a gentleman not knowing who he was. And then he brought an envelope to my house. There was £5,000 in the envelope. I'd never seen that amount of money. So we looked at it with my wife and then we took it back. We said, he wants to control us with his money. You see what poverty can do? So we agreed. And I'm coming to the all alone wound because I had no one else to advise me. My wife says, no, he will control us. I'm just talking about relationships. That man came with his wife, they brought the money back, and we took it back again. He got offended. The third time he says to me, listen, I don't need this money. I employ 250 people in my companies. I've got millions of these I'm giving you. I went and I paid off my house with no balance in my account because of relationships. I have flown to America. I have flown to Kenya. I've flown to Sierra Leone. I've flown to Botswana. I've flown to Zimbabwe. I've flown to South Africa. I'm flying to South Africa in July. No money in my account. Relationships. My child got a job in London. We didn't know what to do. She went to live in a house in London. We had nowhere to put her. Relationships. When Pastor Abu heard my daughter was in London, Pastor Abu took my daughter for 3 months in his house. Relationships. So that is very important. That's why I want you. It's not that you go to relationships to look for things. You go to relationships to love. And God takes care of you there. On Tuesday, we are putting a bid to buy a building. Relationships. One English gentleman came to me and says, okay, if your bid goes beyond that, I will back you up with £100,000. I'm thinking, oh, this village boy, somebody is saying, I'll back you up with £100,000. Do you know how big £100,000 is for a village boy like me? Relationships. So the all alone wound takes away the blessing of relationships. So you must deal with it. This wound is self-inflicted by refusing to see life as it is. Let's define the all alone wound. I think this is important. It's a social, emotional, and spiritual loss that is caused by the lack of a healthy male relationships. It's a loss, emotional, spiritual loss caused by the lack of healthy relationships. And it's very dangerous if a man does not have healthy relationships. It leads to loneliness. And how many know that when you are lonely, you get into trouble? I work with men. Most of pornographers do that because they are lonely, they are bored. They are bored, that's why they do that. Men get into affairs for adventure. Imagine a man sleeping with a woman in the house, but he has another woman for 10 years and she doesn't know it. For him, it's an adventure. Loneliness. Loneliness can make you do stupid things. The other problem is foolish behaviors. Donald Trump. This woman is a hooker already. The man is a billionaire. He is on his third wife. And he's still going for hookers and paying them. Foolish behavior comes to you when you are all alone. Because there is no one who can say, what are you thinking? Don't you like such people? What are you doing? I was talking to my brother Perez here. He was confused. Are you appreciating? I said, you make a decision. A woman is a woman. They are born again, they love God, they are this, they are this. You know, when you've got somebody, they make you see, we say they make you see your blind spots. If you drive a car, you understand there is something called a blind spot. You can't see it whether you want it or not, because it's a spot that is blind. And you need relationships to help you see your blind spots. When you are all alone, you are prone to accidents. So relationships are like wing mirrors in a car. They help you see behind while you are going forward. And we say 2 eyes are not enough for a man. You need more than 2 eyes to overcome the evil and the temptations around. And the extra eyes, you get them from people. You are not a beast. So the all alone wound. Sometimes because of that, you tend to be short-sighted. When you are short-sighted, you take immediate pleasure, short-term pleasure. You don't look far into it. I had a friend of mine. Before we came here, we came to the UK in 2009. I came in December 2001, sorry. This is my 17th year. And then one of the friends I worked with was engaged to this woman. And then Christmas time, he sent the woman to the village to spend time with his mother. And then he took some overtime. You know, when you work over Christmas, you get paid more money. So in the process, he spoke to the friend of his wife, and they went out on holiday together. They went out on holiday together, they had fun and whatever it is that they called fun. And then he didn't realize now this woman would come to him and ask for money. If he said he didn't have money, and then she would say, I will tell your wife what we did. So all the time he had to silence it. I was the manager of this division. So he came to apply for a loan. He wanted 10,000. And then I said, what are you doing with 10,000? I said, until I know I'm not giving you this loan. So that's when he told me his story. You know what I said? I said, listen, go home now and report yourself to your wife. Because the woman was saying, if that money is not in my account by 5 o'clock, I'm phoning your wife and I tell her. I said, listen, my brother, you will be a servant and a slave to this woman all your life. Go and report yourself. I gave him off. He drove home in the afternoon. He told his wife, he says, my boss has told me to come and tell you 1, 2, 3, 4. The wife was angry, she was furious, but she was grateful she was told. And then he came back to work. The time that he got back to work, before he knocked off, the woman phoned the wife. And then when the wife received the phone, she says, oh, you want to tell me that you were sleeping with my husband? She was silenced. So when you are alone, short-sightedness can hurt your life. I will take you through that so that you see the story unfold. The all-alone wound is dangerous. Every man benefits from the company of other men. Ladies, please, the same applies to you. It's just that it's a men's conference. We don't want to share our glory. Every man benefits from the company of other men. Don't be fooled. I'll show you examples. And because of that, that's why I'm coming to your answer, say. So to do that, every man must develop 3 key relationships. Please write them down. Every man must develop 3 important or strategic relationships. The first one, you need an admiring mentor, somebody who has got more experience than you, who can see the best in you and help bring it out. You need an admiring mentor. But for you to do that, you must be friendly, you must be respectful, you must be available, you must be there so that somebody sees your heart and offers to take you to their world. When I came to the Redeemed Church, it was 2011, I did not know much. The Lord led me to attend a conference at Jesus' house. That's where we met Pastor Shola. And when we spoke to her, immediately Pastor Shola took us to Pastor Agu. Pastor Agu saw something in us, he pulled us. I have grown a lot because of that. Every man needs an admiring mentor who sees something in you and pulls it out. You develop that relationship. You develop that relationship. You see him cutting grass, go and help him to cut the grass. You see him cleaning his car, go and help him to clean the car. Go, and in the end, they will see what is in you, and that's what Elisha did with Elijah. You need that relationship. And the second relationship is what we call a side-by-side friend. You need a side-by-side friend who can challenge you at your level, who know your ins and outs. It's for your health and checks, or checks and balances. You need to develop it, and you feed that equally with loyalty and sincerity, because that's where your safety will come from. We will discuss that now. And then the third relationship, that's yours, say. You need a needy person or a needy protege that you can inspire and begin to feed and mentor. As men grow older in life, they derive strength by sharing their experiences with younger men. In this country, a lot of men die a lonely death in care homes. They can't tell their story to anybody. The care workers there for business, there is no story listening to your experiences and your dreams and whatever. They are just treating you like business. And the Lord, that's why one of my ministry is to minister to those old people in care homes. I love listening to their stories, especially the Christians. Big stories of faith. They begin to pour into you, pour in, and they give you pointers that can take you somewhere in life. So you need those three relationships in your life, and you keep them active. That's what makes you grow and stay safe. It's your responsibility. By an admiring mentor, it's someone you look to. Somebody you want to be like. It's your responsibility to link yourself to them. And then a side-by-side friend is somebody you can be vulnerable to. Somebody who can fact check you. Fact check you. You need to be checked. And then the needy protege, somebody to protect and help in life. You need to give them an upstand. You've got to invest. You are a flowing river. If you don't have those flowing rivers, you are like a dead sea. You will shrink slowly, and your waters will be salty, and you will have no life. Most men in life, they live a life of quiet desperation. And that's a sad place to be. Most men, they live a life of quiet desperation. They drive their BMWs and everything, but inside, they are hollow. That's why they love cars more than people. If you find them shining their cars spend more than their wives. All alone wound. All alone wound. All alone wound. This is dangerous. Quiet desperation, because that's where you get your serial killers. Have you ever heard a story where you hear a man killed his wife and his children, and then you say, we knew him, he used to pass here alone. He used to pass here alone. He never used to talk to anybody. The all alone wound. What you are thinking nobody can challenge. It's because they are used to that wound that is alone. A man who isolates himself, you seek your own desire. It will destroy you. Alone you can talk yourself into anything. You can talk yourself into anything. That's what the devil said. I will do 1, 2, 3, 4. I will be bigger than God. I will be like God. You remember? Alone you can talk to yourself anything. Gehazi. You remember the story of Gehazi? When he followed Naaman, he says, I will pursue this foreigner. The prophet doesn't charge him. I will pursue him and I will take that money from him. Alone he spoke into himself, into following him. He didn't know the Spirit of God was there. When he came home, Elijah said, where were you? Gehazi says, I was nowhere, Lord. I was nowhere, sir. Elijah says, did not my spirit go with you? And then he says, from today, that leprosy that was on Naaman shall be with you and your children. How many know that Gehazi was supposed to take over from Elisha, like Elisha took over from Elijah? So no, he had no protege anymore because he chose the all-alone wound of secrecy, talking himself into anything. Judas, I will sell him out and make money for 30 pieces of silver. Alone you can talk yourself into anything. No one commits suicide in a group of people. I will drink poison and I will take my life. Alone. That's why they leave a letter behind, and the letter is only found after they are gone. But if you had people to talk to, those could be stopped. The alone wound is very dangerous. And also, this spirit leads to loose living. You live loosely because no one can challenge you. You can have a girlfriend anytime. You can sleep wherever you want anytime. You don't have to come home anytime. By the way, some men forget to come home. They get lost. So it's loose living. And that is dangerous. Very dangerous. Loose living requires a lot of faith. You sleep in the house of a stranger and you think she will keep you alive. These guys have faith. They are daring. I'd rather go to the woman I have known for years. I know she sympathizes with me. I've done some good for her. She will think for me. You see that we are foolish. We never think that way. We never think that way. It leads to loose living, the all alone wound. And also it leads to loss of motivation for the noble things in life. You know, sometimes when you begin to do that, you just drink, you get into addictions, you just lose motivation in making yourself better. Because no one speaks into you to call out the best and admiring mentor, to call out and encourage you. Ladies, men have a problem, especially when they fail. I remember in 1993, I was teaching in a school. And I fought with the principal, we argued, and then the principal was not happy, and then they fired me. And I didn't know what to say home. I couldn't go home to say, I'm fired. It was Christmas time. So I just went home, we spent Christmas. And then come January, schools opened, I went to the bathroom. I dressed up, put on my tie, I carried my briefcase, I went out. I spent the whole day roaming around the street. 5 o'clock, I went back home. My wife didn't know I was not working. I had no one to talk to. It was hard for me to say to my wife, I've been fired. It was a Monday. Tuesday, I woke up, dressed up, tied up, took my briefcase, I went out. I came back after 5 as usual. How was work? It was fine. I was a Christian, by the way. I mean, Christians lie, the small lies. You know those lies for Abraham who says Sarah is my sister. You know those lies? Where Isaac also copies Abraham and say, it's my sister. Wednesday, I went to the shower, same time, I left my briefcase and my tie, I went out. Thursday, I did the same. And then Friday, I went to the school where I had been fired to see if I could negotiate, because now I could not sustain, because payday was coming, and how many know that payday knows how to speak? So God is merciful. When I was sitting in front of my principal's desk, he stood off to go and get something. There was a newspaper open, and from there they wanted a teacher. I copied the phone number. And when I walked out, I called the school. They said, we are looking for a maths teacher. I said, I can only teach primaries in maths. They said, that's what we are looking for. Are you ready to start on Monday? I said, yes, ma'am. The following Monday, I started school by God's grace. God saved my face. But I could not talk to anybody. So ladies, there are things that men find hard to talk about, especially when they lose their job, when they get retrenched, when they get fired, when they fail in their degree. It's hard for them. That's why you need to help them to find somebody that they can talk to if you want to be with your men for a long time. Because a sense of failing kills the man. That's why you women who are earning more than your husbands, you mustn't ridicule them. Otherwise, you will emasculate them. You'll have a zombie. And how many do you know that when men are frustrated, they lose their erection? Yes, it's true. Sometimes they have early ejaculation, premature ejaculation because of stress. So it affects you too. That's why we need to develop these relationships and make sure we help one another. If they've got no one to talk to, this all-alone wound can actually have far-reaching consequences. And then the other thing is that it gives you a warped perspective of life. Proverbs 14:12. Can you put that one up, please? Because you are alone, you get this warped perspective of life. There is a way that seems right to a man. Do you see that? But its end leads to death. But to you, it seems like it's a warped perspective. It's a warped perspective. So we must be careful about this wound. Only that we can't talk about people. I know about people in my field, but we must respect them. I was going to mention a few pastors here who had that warped perspective, and then they self-destroyed. They self-destroyed. You remember Bill Clinton? I don't know that woman, Monica Lewinsky. You remember? And yet the man has been sleeping with the girl all along, and then he says, I don't know that woman. Pointing at her like that in court. There is a way that seems right. When he was jolling and having the affair, it seems right. It seemed heaven. It seemed the world. But it leads to death. When our Home Office Minister was deporting people, it seemed right. But last week she had to resign. There is a way that seems right. So a warped perspective of life will kill you when you are all alone, because no one will challenge, no one will correct, no one will question. And also loss of opportunities for much needed transparency. If you have nobody, you can't be transparent to anybody. I need to talk to somebody. Listen, my brother, I am dying of lust. I am in trouble. I am falling in love for Sister Kenny. Can you help me pray with me? These things are natural. Pastors also have a crush on girls. There's a stunner who can shock you. We are humans. That's why I say to the guys, it's not bad to look at somebody beautiful. What I do now, when I see somebody beautiful who stands me, I comment to my wife, hey, darling, that's a stunner. She almost kicked me down. Hold my hand. I work with my wife. It's natural. It's not that I've wanted her. It's her beauty shocked you. And it happens. We don't talk about, am I right, Mama Pastor? That's why we need that. We need to get that. You need those opportunities for transparency to talk to say, listen, I'm having thoughts about this guy. Please help me pray with me. I remember one time I dreamt sleeping with a woman. So I went to my wife. I'm learning to work with my wife. I said, yes, honey, I dreamt making love to this woman. I said, no, it was a dream. It was a dream. Please, man, it was a dream. I almost died for a dream. But now she appreciates me. Because the biggest mistake that you will do is to dream making love to that chemical, and then you tell my sister, I dreamt us making love yesterday. And then she says, what? She started praying about it. Before you know it, you are in there. That's why safety zones are good. Yeah, am I the only one who sometimes dreams these stupid things? Or what? So now you know what I do. When I begin dreaming, I tell my wife, I think it's too much now. I'm dreaming many women. I'm dreaming many. I think we have not had action for a time. We need action. And then she tries to say, yeah, I'm tired. I said, it's better action than us in trouble. We need action. People don't talk like this, man.
How's the best about that? I'd be outside the door.
What am I trying to say? We are human. We are human. I say, when you see one time my wife, we were moving one time in town. My wife used to be very protective of me. I said, leave me. I will overcome the devil on my own. So we were walking, and then this lady's dress went up. It lifted up and flies out, and then my wife came and closed my eyes and said, leave me to see. I want to see. Leave me to see. She was trying to hold my eyes. I said, I know, leave me. Let me see the world. Let me see. So I had to teach her to say, listen, darling, you can't protect me. It's in my heart. But we talk. Are you hearing me? Transparency. So now we have a wonderful time with my wife. I talk with her, I comment with her, and this and that. So it keeps you, because sometimes if you let those, what does James say? We are tempted because of a desire. And then he says, when that desire is full grown, what does he do? It leads to sin. And what does sin do? It leads to, I would rather talk about the desire before it lays eggs on me. That's why we need this thing, guys. Let me give you examples quickly and then I close. The prodigal son. What did he say? I will go to my father and I will say. He spoke himself into that. And he went to his father and he paid a heavy price. I will give you the next one. Judas, I will sell Jesus. He paid a heavy price. Before that, Jesus, whom he sold to died, Judas was dead. Jesus found him there. And they say, aha, we're together now. Listen, we are together now. What did you do? What did I see on the table? Do you think they didn't talk there beyond the river? What did you say? I told you. How about Judah? You know, the story of Judah is amazing. I think it's Genesis 38, 39. You know, Judah, his sons were married to this woman and they died. And then Judah now says, anyway, wait for my son. When he grows up, I will call you. Those of you guys who don't want to marry a lady who is a bit older than him, Judah is teaching us there's nothing wrong. And when the son was grown, now Judah does not give. What was the name of that woman? We'll get her. Was it Hannah? Huh? Tamar. And then listen to Judah. Judah then visits another city, and then he finds a prostitute sitting down. He thinks it's a prostitute, but that was his daughter-in-law. And then Judah actually goes to this woman and says, can you please sleep with me? Imagine a stranger. Do you see the all alone wound? He is thinking, I will sleep and then we will forget. And then the woman says, what will you give me? He says, I will give you a little goat. Imagine they were paying with goats those days. He says, but you don't have a goat here. He says, okay, leave me your stuff as a promise. I will serve. So he thought he was just leaving his stuff. He slept with her. She got pregnant and then he went back. And then when he heard Tamar was pregnant, he says, bring her here. We are going to kill her. Where did she get from? Tamar was clever. She brought that stuff. He says, the man who owns this. And then she says, you have been more righteous than me. But he spoke himself into it because no one could challenge him. Judah, what are you doing? A big man like you. All alone wound. How about David? Uriah's wife. David trying to give alcohol to Uriah. David writing a letter to say kill Uriah, and he gives Uriah to say take it up there. All alone wound, because he says all his men were at war and he was alone walking on a roof. The whole king walking on a roof when he had chariots and stuff. The all alone wound can make you do stupid things. You need somebody to check you. How about Amnon? You remember Amnon? Amnon was David's son. He was lusting after his half sister. He even plotted with somebody to, and then the girl says, no, go and ask from my father. He will give you, we do it properly. Then the boy says, no, I want it now. The all alone wound, misjudgment, short-sightedness. And from that, it caused another wound in Absalom. He says, I will kill this man. Again, another all alone wound. Absalom waited for 2 years to kill Amnon. And eventually he killed him. Because there was no one to challenge and bring order. The all alone wound is dangerous. The other one is Shechem, who raped Dinah, Jacob's daughter. And then the brothers of Jacob killed the whole clan. It's a very dangerous, very dangerous path if we are not careful. If we are not careful, the all alone wound will kill you. Life is a team sport. Have some soul talk with others. Men don't know soul talk. What I'm talking now is soul talk. What is it that is in your heart? Talk it out with somebody. Your challenges, your thoughts, bring them out, talk them out to somebody. Because they say the power of sin is in its secrecy.
Yes.
Have some soul talk. Ladies, yes. Men don't know soul talk. They will talk football, they will talk Lewis Hamilton, they will talk everything, and yet they are struggling inside, but they won't talk about it. That's why a lot of men get into trouble. And they lose their jobs. They lose their families. They lose their children. A lot of men are dying lonely because their families abandon them. I'm always saddened by the story of Michael Jackson and his father. Because of that wound, they never connected. When you start talking about your needs, temptations, and struggles, and desire, and thoughts, you begin to find help and release. So to see life well, you need other people. When you are all alone, no one knows you. Look out for men who are doing well and spend time with them. Link with a framework of a men's ministry in your area. That's why I'm praying that you guys will mobilize and put a viable men's ministry where men will find ears, where men will find some confidence to talk about. Let me tell you the truth. All people get tempted. even pastors, presidents, prime ministers, women also get tempted. Men have got a tendency to feel women don't get tempted. I'm sure the ladies, if they are honest, they will tell me the truth. They also get tempted. So if we don't have platforms to address these things, that's why we'll have altar call after altar call after altar call of the same thing. Because we have not healed the wounds. We're always laying hands on people, praying and fasting for them. So one time the Lord rebuked me. I would pray intensely in the altar, and the people I'm praying for are just folding their hands quiet. I'm thinking, but this demon is not in me, it's in you. You should be praying more than I'm praying. Do you get it? I'm the one who is fasting, you are eating. Yet I'm praying for you. Do you see the challenge? It's because of these wounds, we don't teach them to say, actually, this problem is in you. Now for my altar calls, I say, come to the front, call on God. And then I'll be singing, helping worship. Because we need to teach them to confront that thing and ask for help. Because their idea in the end, they will say, the pastor is a power man, he will lay hands on me and the fornication will go. Fornication doesn't go like that. It doesn't go like that. So do you see the challenges that we have? We need to talk about them. And some of these things are now habits. If you have done it for a long time, it's harder to break it. So that's why it needs discipline and structures from men to work about that. I was talking to a young man who was struggling with masturbation. A handsome man. He was struggling with masturbation. I said, but why do you masturbate? And he was working, he was over 25. I said, why don't you marry? The Bible already says, if you find you are burning, marry. It's in the scripture. It doesn't burn you if you are burning, masturbate. I'm thinking, why wasting your time when there is something better? So he says, I said to him, what happens is each time I go to the shower, I don't come out without masturbation. I said, okay, what do we do? I said, now, when you go to the shower, I don't want you to last a minute in the shower. When you walk into the shower, phone me. When you walk out of the shower, phone me. And straight after changing, get out of the house. That's how you break habits. You put a program in place. One day, in the morning, he didn't call me. I tried to call him, he didn't answer. I knew what had happened. I knew. Because it was his responsibility. And then when we met, I didn't say anything. I didn't even say you didn't call me because I'm not the masturbator. You are the one. I do it properly. I do it properly. Do you get what I'm saying? And I think it's much better with a wife. It's nicer with a wife. The breasts are soft, her body is nice, and the masturbating is terrible. Do you see what we're saying? We need to teach people this. The last time, this woman phones me from hospital. She is a nurse. Oh, Pastor, please go home. My husband wants to kill himself. I'm thinking. I said, but why don't you go? She says, I'm on a shift. And then I said, I've got my 2 daughters at home, my children at home. It was around 12 midnight. I'm thinking, this woman, I don't sleep with her husband. She's the one who enjoys this man. And he wants to kill himself. You are sending me to leave my own family, to go and make your husband not kill, and you are making the money yourself. This is the one area where you guys are cruel. You have extra shifts, you get overtime. We pastors don't get overtime. Do you get overtime, pastor? So she says, so in the end I was troubled because I felt guilty. I said, what do I do? And then the Lord gave me wisdom. So I said, okay, I'll see what to do. So I picked out the phone. I phoned this man in his house. He was called Mike. I said, Mike, he says, hello. I said, I hear you want to kill yourself. He says, yes. So I said, can you do me a favor? He had 2 small boys. I said, can you take those 2 small boys and you take them to so and so, and then you come and you hang yourself nicely alone. I don't want these children to see feces and hear you farting and all that stuff when the stream is getting into your leg, because it will traumatize them for life. You spare them the trouble and come and die yourself nicely. I put the phone down. The following morning at 6 o'clock, I phoned the house. I said, hello. I said, you are still alive. Do you see how I deal with men? Otherwise, if we're not careful, these wounds will leave our own children, and you are making money. You are making progress, and the problem is with you. I've never heard him trying to kill himself again. So you need somebody in your life to challenge and create that. That's why the all-unknown wound is dangerous. It can destroy you. So if you want to be a total and a complete man, never think you will do it alone. Join with other people who have done well. Join with other people who have encouraged you, can encourage you. Join with other people who can share their experiences, and you will grow and improve. And as you improve, your home will improve. Your children will improve, and the blessings will begin to come. Because God doesn't bless nonsense. And if we learn that, we will be blessed. I'm sure I will stop here. Amen. Praise God.